Welcome to Critical ReRoll, the Critters podcast by the Critters for the Critters about Critical Role. I am taking back my host seat this week.
Rude.
I don't actually want it, though. But I'm Matt Abernathy. With me are two familiar faces. If you guys want to say hi.
Oh, you fixed your names. So
I did fix the names.
I'm at GeoNerd, otherwise known as Dusty. It's a pleasure to see you all again.
I'm not nearly so fancy. I'm just Jess.
Jess.
And
I gotta change your name.
Jess.
Well, cool. So, Critical ReRoll is a show that you all know about. That's really the only reason you would find this podcast. What are we talking about today?
Stuff and things!
Critical Role?
Let's change it. What's y'all's favorite Tostitos pizza roll flavor?
Combination.
That's a good one.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What is...
Hers would be cheese because she doesn't eat meat.
There we go. Perfect. So we start out in the Leaky Tavern. Leaky Tap Tavern. It's the Leaky Tap. It's a tavern. They are in the city of Zadesh. And our good trash family, the Mighty Nine, are... So last week I thought they said they ended at the blacksmith.
No, they left. They left the ones that were outside of the invulnerable vagrant were outside getting mead or hot mulled wine or something like that, and then they proceeded towards the Leaky Tap.
I was under the assumption that we were going to start at a really cool blacksmith shop, but we got a really cool tavern instead. Matt describes the scene, and there's quite a big group of people in there, and it's assumed that it's a bachelorette party for whatever reason. And then someone mentions that there's a card game being played, and Jester kind of just hops over there. What are we playing? Go fish? So we got our first little Jester scene of the evening, where she tries to use her sleight of hand skills to win just to win some money, I guess. How do you guys like her? Oh god, what's the word? I just went blank. Hustling. Her hustling skills.
They could be refined.
More
practiced, perhaps.
Less on the nose with, oh, I'm so bad at this game, you could take a lot of money from me. Which in retrospect, I mean, they did.
Well, but due to her own, I don't want to say greed, but, pushing it too hard, because she also, Caleb had that really interesting, thought to use Frumpkin's eyes to see through and cheat and see the cards, and then Nock could use message and send her messages. So in theory, they could have had a good system going, but Jester was just I switched 2 cards, I switched 3 cards, I switched sleight of hand all the time.
Shouldn't be wearing such loose
and she has loosey sleeves.
and then trying to pretend he totally didn't see her, he caught her. And then she's like, "No, I don't know what you mean."
What
and I'm
do you mean cheating? That's how you played. The motherfuckers took my money. I love her constant switch between moods when something happens her way and then when it doesn't.
What doesn't? It definitely goes straight to
like an angsty teen.
Yeah.
We don't know how old she is yet.
No, we don't. That's true. We assume she's all sweet and cutesy, that she's quite young. And
yeah, well, I think a lot of that, if the backstory that seems to be leading up to, or that's kind of been hinted at, keeps going, I mean, it makes sense for Jester, who kind of didn't really get a chance to grow up with other normal, grounded things.
Hang out with her non-god friends?
Is it one of those Lifetime movies where somebody grows up with money and has to go to school for the first time and what? There's no butlers to do our homework or whatever.
Yeah. Someone that's used to having so much of an allowance, they can just buy fancy clothes for their horses and
Oh man. So that happens. She loses, I think, just 7 gold, which isn't too much for her, but is quite a bit for level 3 characters.
Yeah. I think it's quite a bit for them. I don't think it's a lot for her as what she's used to, and assuming as she does that she's going to get plenty of money back. She seems to be like, it was worth the fun! 7 gold!
Is it all an act? Did she really come from money?
Can you truly trust fund kids?
Exactly. Caleb, it was pretty sly sending Cat, friend, Frumpkin, thank you. Up on the banisters.
They had a good setup. They had a good setup to roll a pretty mean card game.
They did.
But there was no communication between all of them until like the last minute.
I think my favorite
Jester
part
was
is like
on
what's the 2 Muppets, the 2 old men Muppets? What are the names?
Oh, Waldorf and Statler.
That was basically Travis and Marisha the whole time. Like, we can't ever just walk into a bar and have a good time. If it was going to just go right to messing things up. Their commentary on everything everyone else is doing is a choice.
I love it. I wanted to be them when I grew up.
Great.
Both of them? You wanted to be both the old men?
I literally thought that I could grow up and become a Muppet. Like a Muppet. Not like someone who operated the puppets.
What are you talking
Anyway.
No, what was that last thing you said?
Hmm?
What was the second part of the Muppets thing?
Oh, the Muppets are real.
So they go to this place. So they go to this tavern looking for Sheed. I believe that's the name. Who's the owner of the Leaky Tap. And Molly is just yells out her name.
Claudia
Sheed.
Yeah.
And she is busy at that time. Mm-hmm. So they go up and knock on her door, it was insane how how Marisha and Taliesin did the exact same knock.
Oh, well, yeah, that was hilarious.
Or what did he call her? The come with me unappealing one? What was it?
I didn't catch that part.
Oh, I didn't catch that part either.
Oh, yeah, no, because Molly's heading up, and Bo's like, I can come with you. And he's like, unappealing one. Come
yes! Oh, what did he call her? No, you're right. He called her, like, not overconfident.
Someone's going to say,
come on, chat!
Don't let us down.
Don't let us down, chat.
No pressure, though.
But it takes them a minute to get inside. Like, she's asking who it is. Like, we're friends from out of town. Be more specific, and Bryce sent us, and eventually they get in, and they're inquiring about finding work in this new town that they're in. And they ask a lot of good questions about like who they should trust, who they shouldn't trust, who they should talk about, who they shouldn't talk about, places to avoid, people to
asking all the right questions. Like it was really nice to see them ask all the questions, but follow through with none of them.
Exactly. So they're told. I mean, they get vague answers. They ask a question, but got vague answers. Like, I don't trust anyone. That's how I acquired this bar from the last person that had it. Yeah, that's how you kind of stay alive, is just knowing who not to talk to, but not getting the answer on, like, who's that we shouldn't talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Is this when they bring up the gentleman? Is that what?
Not quite yet. We kind of get, like, the 6 religious figures that
right.
Yeah, the 6 approved ones.
The rundown on Zadash and
the approved ones. You have the Allhammer, the Raven Queen, Platinum Dragon, Dawnfather, Lawbearer, and Knowing Mistress.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Annoying Mistress.
The Annoying.
And I think Jess, we're the one that said, like, kind of caught up on when Jester asked where all the shrines were to these gods. What was your thought on that?
Well, just like first they told you can't worship anyone outside of those, 6, and obviously Jester's like, oh really? I can't go around advertising this, huh? And then like just asking where the different shrines were, and I feel like I don't know if Claudia knew what she was saying because I think did Jester ask? She said, so are there a lot of people at these shrines all the time? Because she's sort of like, I'm sorry, it seems like Jester's planning on pranking all the shrines. Because what else would her god like more? What does the Traveler like more than pranking people?
Yeah, and so they get it's pretty busy around noontime, but then there's only like a few heralds that are assigned from the capital or whatever
And hopefully
to
they're
watch
named
over.
Harold.
Hopefully they're named Harold. I'm Harold the Herald. But yeah, no, I didn't pick up on that, but I extremely hope that is the case.
Well, because like Laura, before she even like came out as Jester and started asking questions, Laura smirked. It was a Laura smirk in which you were like, okay, she's planning on doing. The second she heard like you can't do this, she was like, oh really?
One quick like shout out to Laura. If you watch earlier, after they've kind of joked about like the Noel dicks on the bachelorette party part, after like they're done laughing with that, Matt's kind of moving on. He says like, you know, one of the waiters looks over and fingers at the other guy, and you can see Laura.
Yeah,
she like as soon as he said that, like
video of that. Yep.
She had like an automatic reaction of her eyebrow wiggle, and she started smiling, but she didn't take the bait. I was proud of that moment. Just seeing that, I went back and I watched it. I'm like, oh yeah, she almost did it. She almost broke.
Yeah, someone tweeted just that section. I watched that video a few times.
Excellent. Unpleasant one. Thank you. Let's see, and it's around this time when they're like, you know, there's certain people that you shouldn't mention or whatever, and Jester makes some sort of remark about the gentleman, and Claudia's demeanor changes, and
she's got a quick reaction.
Yeah, that like this is literally what I was saying, not to use the names of people of the dark underbelly. So this guy with a really lame name could be a big bad in the city, or like high up on the underground food chain.
Well, do you think the gentleman is one person, or do you think the gentleman is a group of people?
Like a meat man situation?
Well, also like the name of a small gang or something like that, or like an underground organization.
I mean, it was singular, gentleman.
Was it singular, gentleman, not gentleman?
Yeah, gentleman. Well, I thought it was the gentleman.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the problem is like pronunciation-wise, both of them, gentleman. Yeah, it's. I think it might be like one, like maybe like infamous kind of person that's like the leader of maybe a gang. Because later we hear that there's like if you hear myriad stuff and things like that. So like I don't know, maybe there's like a turf war or something.
It could be like a Dread Pirate Roberts situation,
or it's a mantle passed down.
Yeah.
The gentleman. Could he be taking that like? Allspice, when they statted out that guy, could that be the gentleman? Did you see like Allspice had tweeted out stats?
Oh,
for the gentleman class or something.
Not all. Old Spice's D&D thing.
Oh! Yeah. Oh my goodness.
But eventually they leave her. They get the location of the King's Hall board to go look at job postings, and so they head back down. Oh, Dustin,
I just want to say, like at this point, I just face palmed really hard because they literally talk to Claudia. She tells them, "Okay, this is how the dash is run. This is what you should stay away from. Be careful who you talk to. All that stuff." And then we get down, and they go back down, and the first thing they do
is they see a group of people who are asking, "Hey,
people." Who are going down to a basement. And they're like, hey, we should definitely see what those guys are about. And then I think it was like at that same time, Jester was already like, I need paper.
Yeah. So
she's already getting
on her
it's like, there is no way that they're going to make it through this empire, which, as Matt has been slowly building it is an empire you don't fuck with. There's paper trails, there's bureaucracy. I mean, bureaucracy is just the dangerous part anyway. And we'll talk about more later, like once we talk about the basement, but like I just face palmed and it was like they're so gonna get arrested so fast. There's gonna be a point. I mean, they already literally kind of started off getting arrested with the whole campaign 2.0, but it's definitely gonna. The law is gonna be a huge problem for them here because like if you think about previous Vox Machinas, wasn't a law that they really ran across that we got to see. I mean, maybe in the earlier campaign and stuff like that, but they're just regular folks right now. No reputations that are good. And they are going to get arrested. I can't wait.
It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, do you think they're going to be arrested where they're all arrested and they have to try and get away with it like they did getting judged in the last city they were in? Or do you think it's going to be like one or two of them is arrested and the rest of them have to do a breakout?
I don't know. That's going to be because that's kind of a tricky thing for a DM to put players in, because you don't want to make a player feel cornered. Mm-hmm. I've heard stories where like things in games go bad, but I trust.
Yeah, that whole thing where like the player mindset is like, I have to either get out of this through fighting or I'm gonna die here. There's no like, you don't make the distinction of like, okay, I can actually give up and be arrested and not killed, and we can still progress the story. I don't have to try to kill these things.
Yeah, that's because like the problem, like the player kind of tends to think in the fight or flight.
Yeah.
Oh, and only those two options, and like you have to be like a good DM to like remind them that you don't have to like attack and things like that.
But now that we're like talking about it, I think it would be interesting if some got arrested, and it could be kind of a Slayer's Take-ish sort of multi-episode thing where like, because they did the Slayer's Take because like some of the people couldn't be there for a couple episodes, but they still wanted to stream. So it could be the ones in jail are streaming, and then the people outside of jail are stream like do it another day. So that could be cool if that like happens naturally. Otherwise, I think it would be interesting because once they go down and talk to this group of political mass debaters, they learn some
you cunning linguist.
They hear some like horrible stories of what these people have gone through with this political regime.
Yep.
So Bo and Ford head down. And I like picturing the scene of them like, get the cat, and he like grabs it and chunks it at him basically. Molly does. He's like, what are you doing with my cat? Do the thing. But they get taken down. They go down, and they're kind of met with resistance from this resistance. And that wasn't. I didn't mean that one. And they have to kind of like talk their way in. And they managed to do so, and the group is called the Knights of Requitals.
I think it was Requital, yeah.
Requitals. Sigil.
Right, that's how the city is called.
Yeah, they want to change the political structure of the town because a lot of shit apparently has happened. Did either of you want to pick that part up? I have like some notes. Dolan Thrine.
I mean, I have notes about like that Matt was describing these people as like salt of the earth people, and just like some of the details of some of their wrongs were like pretty terrible. Like the one specifically about the wife who was simply like in the market to get food. And then, like, the Crown's Guard picked her up and put her in jail with almost no trial for 20 years. And, like, this guy hasn't seen his wife in 6 months. So, like, what the hell? Like, it's
yeah, just because, like, they managed to catch up with those guys right as they got into her vicinity. And they just, like, assumed she was with them and just grabbed them all up. I think that's just, like, ugh, that was awful.
And the other one was Dolan Thrine. He had a physician's practice, and there was the House of Sutan started, I guess, painting his partner in a bad light or something to that effect. And the son of House Sutan took his practice and all his clients, and now he like has no money.
Yeah. And then the other interesting thing was them talking about like just the problem with like people with status stay high up and people with power, keep the lower people down. It's clearly one of those types of city, but they also mentioned the Cerberus
lack of
Assembly.
Education.
Yeah, the lack of education. They mentioned the Cerberus Assembly again, which is something we heard about in the very early episodes over in the other city. And just the possibility of like, I mean, I know when we were in the other city, we were all like, oh, is there some like other darker scheme happening with the like Crown's Guard and stuff like that, with the Cerberus Assembly and stuff like that, and just like from what we're seeing here, is it just like general power and control, or is there a particular dark storyline we're gonna get there?
I just thought about this. Like, remember when at the beginning they were not had seen like some people darting through alleys or something? Well, what if that was like another like little resistance group in that town? Like, what if there are seeds of resistance groups all throughout the Dwendalian Empire? Oh, that would be so cool to have like a whole campaign based about uprising and toppling an empire.
Some of them seemed really into it. Like, Caleb and Molly seemed very anti-establishment. They were
that made me think. That made me think a lot about like all those theories of what actually like what's Caleb, and like I would really like him to have had some sort of dealing and then like fell out with the Empire kind of thing. Sort of, I don't know, a Han Solo-ish kind of guy. I don't know.
I just think, like you said, that could be a really fun ongoing thing of like being part of this like underground rebellion. But then when we get back to thinking about what was happening in this underground rebellion, they were being rather forthcoming with like information. Like they're being rather forthcoming with like names and locations and like stories and stuff like that with these two strangers who they'd never met before. And then like immediately upon leaving, Nott was like, "Hey, let's turn them all in." But we don't.
I love that part.
But we don't know that like there wasn't someone else in there. Like we're like, oh, maybe our guys were the spy. Hoo. But like maybe someone else in there was spying, and they went down there and they participated, and like are like just another way they might all go to jail. Like. And I like that Jester thought they were down there for orgies.
Yeah, I like that Matt didn't catch that he was asking the lady, like, are they having an orgy? And he's like, I don't know, you'll have to follow him. And he's like, oh, that's let's see. Yeah, that whole thing, it's going to be fun. Because I haven't played or seen too many games that have a big political plot this early.
Oh,
or really at all.
Rowan had a good point. She said, they said that you could tell the guys fake info to like to kind of weed them out, because that way if they give them all fake info and then not gives them up, they'll know exactly who it was that gave them up.
Oh, true.
You know what I mean? Like the first meeting could be a test. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah. He said when a Crown's Guard goes down somewhere based on that info, you know who the spies are.
Zorhas again. I do like that too, because Zorhas is the one that's kind of like battling with the Dwendalian Empire.
Yeah, they keep mentioning like fighting the armies and the stuff from Zorhas. So like, there's definitely something.
Question: the Myriad. I keep saying it was the Myriad. What is the Myriad again?
Is the Myriad the equivalent in this area of like the Clasp back in like? Would that be?
Yeah, the Myriad and the Clasp are two. Like the Myriad has a lot more power in Wildmount. Only because like I'm doing that little campaign with Becca and Herky and stuff, and so like Herc's from Wildmount, and the Myriad is trying to like work its way into other things.
That's right. I kept saying that because I get dyslexic when I see and read.
Yeah, because that's what
Myriad, and I read it kind of like Triad.
Yeah, Rowan reminded us that. That's what the Darringtons. That's who they had to deal with.
Yeah, the Myriad.
Myriad. Right? Yeah, so that's like the big crime organization on this side.
On this side.
Yeah.
And then after all this, Molly kind of pulls Nott aside and kind of goes over like, "Hey, I kind of see you've been eyeing a lot of people. These are some people need all that they have. Some people don't. Go after."
Oh yeah.
And then there's the whole like, well, what about Bo? And he's like, Bo's pretty grumpy. You can take from Bo. Because I think there's been like an ongoing thing. I've seen like clips from talks about like if Molly finds out that Bo came from money, then Molly's not gonna like Bo at all anymore.
Well, there was also one little thing, like, quick to point out, and I don't remember where this happened in the thing, but Bo changed the way she wore her robes when they started walking around.
That was
was that more to try and fit in?
I think that was when they went to the bathhouse, right? Because they were like in a more upscale area.
Yeah, well, and like, I mean, she's definitely wearing things of the Cobalt Reserve kind of.
That's
so. And do you think? And so, like, it reminded me, like, do you think she wears that stuff in kind of like a rebellious way, like the wrong way? Normally, maybe, I don't know. It was just a random thought that I had as like a character thing, but
I mean,
it's
it
not
makes
really
sense,
that
and
important.
it definitely
But it's kind of fun to, because she made the point of saying I put my robe on like the right way and stuff
in a
like
more
that.
traditional way. Like it kind of exposes that she knows like a prim and proper way to do things that she doesn't like to do anymore. And then you get Laura Bailey making the freaking traveler pamphlets like a boss.
Yep.
Oh my god, they're all gonna die.
They're all gonna get arrested. Help, 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 help.
Let's see. And then next day, they all kind of talk about what they want to do. Jester wants to go to the Pillow Trove. The party wants to go to the blacksmith. Caleb wants to do book stuff. And then the group is eventually getting a bath. And then we meet one of the town criers. The first one, and they're kind of like yelling things about, recent going on, and you can tell when Matt's like reading from kind of notes that he's written about like families missing in Nogvarat, Creek kidnappers stealing them away in the night, and you see Travis like, oop, writing that one down. And then they start talking about the Allfield attack and how it was squashed and brought to justice by the Crown's Guard, and they're like, wait a second.
Crown's Guard, yeah.
That was not them. That was
not
us.
the Crown's Guard at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to see a little part of we get to see that little part of the Empire takes credit.
Yeah, well, and then the wishy-washy part of the group of like, do we want credit? We don't want credit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then that springs up because Ford is like, someone should go tell the news, whoever the news source is, that they need to make a retraction. She like marches over to him.
Yeah.
Did you get your information from my boss? Where's your boss located? Did you know that the Allfield was basically rescued by a group called the Mighty Nine? Gets blown off by this guy. And then Caleb has learned a new spell.
No, Caleb already had the spell, didn't he?
Has he used it? Oh, he has used it before, but he's never turned into one of the party.
Yeah.
That's right, because he turned into a Crown Guard previously. He switches into Ford, goes over and brings her, and then there's another fun little moment of, like Jester not knowing if it's actually Ford because Ford's really good at accents, but Caleb's really bad at accents.
So is this
Ford doing a Caleb accent or is Caleb doing a Ford accent?
I like that. Her basically the thought is that Ford doing a terrible accent is the equivalent of Caleb trying to be Ford. Like, it's the same sort of sound. But I do like that we were reminded that, like, that is one of Ford's things, right? That, like, voices and accents and stuff is part of his, like, sneaky capabilities. MO. Yeah, as part of his MO and stuff. And I also love that she used this opportunity to, like, make fun of Caleb, and she was like, Ford, you're so much weaker than usual.
Got them both with that one. And then it's the smell that gives Caleb away.
A dirty thing. Just stop.
Let's see what else happens here.
They need Jester to start tagging their heroics. Like,
that would be fun.
She's gonna start, like, instead of like a Z for Zoro, it'd be like an N for like 9. Like,
if they have like a calling card, they start leaving. Like, who is this group of 9 people? The Mighty Nine. It can't be that group of 7.
There are 6, but there are 6 of you.
She like carves out an N and then smashes it with her lollipops. So there's just a big lollipop symbol, and like, that's the calling card.
And then we meet a new blacksmith, Yannick Nimmel, who pretty easygoing guy, seemed like.
But it was our first. I think I remember. I was wondering. I was like, "Is that an Australian accent?"
It was. I think it was
like
attempt
it was a
to be
mix.
an Australian. It was interesting to watch all the Australians and the Kiwis comment on that.
On like how like good of a job he did. Yeah, so they sell and trade. So did they trade all the weapons and get both hand axes, or just get one of the hand axes? I don't 100%
Jester just wanted one hand. Like, the deal was originally 2 hand axes and 20 gold, but Jester was like, I just need like one. So then it was 1 axe and 25 gold that they got for trading in all the stuff. And I loved just Jester listing off everything. She got 2 small crossbows and 2 heavy crossbows. I got these sword and these. She's just
and I was like listening to it. I wasn't watching, but as she was like describing them, somebody else, probably Sam, was just like tink tink as she was laying them down, like tink. 3 short swords, tink tink tink.
Yeah, just a giant pile of rusted, crappy metal.
And then the
best
retcon
thing was the manacles.
Yeah.
The retcon of the manacles of like, did we bring the cart, or are we carrying these around our necks? How are we moving these manacles that don't fit in our bag? And let's see, that all happens. They get a hand axe. Next, they meet the second town crier. I do have 2 names to locate, like buildings: the Lodge of the Eclipse and the Hall of Iridation. I don't remember what those are. I think is one a bookstore? No, one's the place where the Hall of, I think it's Iridation. Iridation is where he recommended selling the Manticore head. The Lodge of the Eclipse, I don't remember exactly why he mentioned it, but it's like got a good nightlife apparently.
Interesting.
Like parties at night.
I like the boogie.
Yeah. And second town crier, they meet. We hear about a riot in Rexingtrum that was squashed, and that the radical groups have been brought to justice under the crown.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I just thought really quick too, because they took credit for what happened. The Queen, like the Kingsguard, took credit for the Knolls. Like, is that really quashed, or is that just Empire propaganda?
Yeah.
Bum bum bum.
Yep.
I feel like how much of what we're hearing from the town criers is just propaganda, and they're just doing what they're just screaming out what they're told to scream out, right?
Yeah, and we're in reference to Zadash's Rexingtrum.
It's so Rexingtrum is. This is as much as kind of up here, and Zadash is like it's like in the middle of the whole map that.
Okay.
Oh, Devin Rue did.
Yeah. Rexingtrum is like almost
had that handy.
Almost up to the top, like up to the coast.
Gotcha. And what's the relevance of that place? Is that one of the bigger cities?
That's the capital. That's the capital.
Okay.
Of the
Okay.
And remember, that he said that it's like 5-6 times bigger than Amon ever was.
Right. Oh, one other thing. So when they left the meeting of the Night Requiters, what was it? Knights of Requitals. Ford asked, like, we're going to be staying in town, so if you need anything, and the person was just like, well, we are gearing up for an event soon. So I'm ready for some shenanigans to go down in the city.
Well, the festival's coming up. Do you think
in 2 weeks? Yeah.
Is that what you were getting at?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the second thing. The second thing the town crier says is 2 weeks time to the Harvest Close Festival, Victory Pit, and the Pentamarket entry begins in 4 days. Now, what is the Victory Pit? Do we think? Because that's what I want to focus in on.
That sounded like it was a fighting pit.
It's a fighting pit. For like
because then
honor,
Jester
like
is like, we need to get a
pit.
really. Jester lady's like, we need to get a really big vegetable, like a big pumpkin. So I don't understand why she wanted that.
This isn't Stardew Valley. It's not like pick your best crops.
Yeah, that is the Harvest Festival in Stardew Valley. No, this is like, I'm sure there will be.
But
like
I took that as like
but
there would be like, because it's the Harvest Close, so she probably just wanted to buy a giant pumpkin, because I bet she has plans for it.
Pumpkin chunkin'.
But yeah, I think the festival would be perfect time for the rebellion to like do so, and that's 2 weeks for like our guys to like figure out what's going on and decide whether they want to participate or not, and then like do something super exciting.
Fun random
Very
fact,
nice.
everyone, that Harvest's close is
Oh yeah, you had the date.
the 3rd of Fesurin, the month of Fesurin, which has 29 days. So if it's 2 weeks from then they are in the month of Sidenstar, which has 32 days. Anyway, just thought I'd point that out.
I need to make like a fun facts with Dusty graphic. And I was like, bring. Excellent. And then it's to the bathhouse, where after the description of the place, Yasha is already there. Ashley Pack.
Hey!
Hey! And I love the imagery that Yasha fucking had her sword
with her,
She's just-
regardless of where she, because it's a new sword.
She's naked
Yeah, it's just-
in the bathhouse, but she has her giant ass greatsword with her.
And I love how nonchalantly Molly Mock just like walks by and like, took you long enough.
Yeah, he just walks by and like gives her a kiss on the head.
This bathhouse was too much for me in so many different ways. Molly's tattoos and Yasha.
Oh my god, the tattoos.
Does have tattoos. Who wants to go through the tattoos?
I could do it. I have them written down.
Excellent. I do
Okay.
too, but you added something that I didn't have, so you have better notes.
Okay. At least for tattoos, I do. I like these, I love that Taliesin was literally like, he's like, so starting here,
Yeah.
there's a snake and it's running. Everyone loves it except the fan artist, the searcher David. They're like, oh god, he's complicated with his jacket on. He's complicated with his clothes off.
I
There's
can't
no way
even
to
draw Molly Mock
There's no way to
naked.
draw Molly where he isn't completely super complicated. But so yeah, he has a snake going up his arm to apparently what turns into an interesting and varietal floral arrangement, which then goes into the peacock, which we've seen because it goes up his face and continues down his chest. And then he has on his shoulder, I guess on the other shoulder maybe, I'm not sure, he has a moon and stars going on, but then interestingly going up the back of his neck and into apparently his hairline, so there might be more that we did not see. There was an eye and a pyramid and another eye, which sounds pretty like secret society-y. But yeah, that one's interesting. I wonder if it's one of those things where like you have to shave his head to find the rest of the tattoo to find the secret to the map.
Ooh. What if I got him in a room with a black light?
Yeah, and suddenly just
No, never mind.
Okay, now I want to make a character who has a tattoo of a map on it, but he doesn't know what it is. Or they don't know what it is. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So you're describing Waterworld.
I never saw Waterworld.
What?
Me
Why would I see
How
Waterworld?
I've seen because
It was the
on
worst
TV
movie in
all
the world?
time because it was terrible.
Never saw
I've
it.
seen it a billion
I have
jillion times.
never
That's one of the
I've seen
huge
the stunt show
premises
at
of the
Hollywood Studios, but I haven't seen the actual movie.
It's one of the huge premises of the movie is that someone has a map tattooed onto them and they have no idea what it means.
Damn
Molly
it, it's a trope.
is the decoration
No, I
of
can't do it
independence.
because it's a trope.
It is a trope. It's not original at all. Sorry.
Well, I figured it was probably a trope.
It's a great
What?
song.
I'm still gonna do it.
It's
Oh
not-
wait, there was a cool joke in there when they found Yasha that they made that wherever Ashley goes, she just deals with tattooed people.
Mhm.
That's so true.
Or she, as they start pointing, like, yeah, I found him in the forest in a bag of holding. But she
Look,
does
guys,
sell.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Boom.
Bad.
So she did hear about like their deeds in Allfield, and she kind of got there during the aftermath. She's heard like whispers of the name the Mighty Nine. And then they kind of look over at Knot, and Knot's not in the water, and we find out that Knot can't swim. And then we kind of have like a weird naked group moment where they all kind of help Knot swim a little bit.
But it was cute. They went through the steps of their like, okay, gonna hold your hands, kick, kick,
Yeah.
kick, 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 kick.
And Sam
And then-
miming it.
And then they did it like, 'cause we're gonna go under the water. Like, 1,
Oh,
2,
God.
They all
I was
go
getting
underwater.
flashbacks of learning how to swim when they
And
were
then
doing
Not
that.
comes back up. I'm gonna kill you all. I'll kill you.
I really like when she like switches into that like
Primal
she's
rage.
like yeah, and they're just like
Like,
I'll kill you all.
It's around this time that we hear about Yasha that she follows the Stormlord, which is in Matt's Taldore campaign guide.
Page 18.
Page 18.
I remember our previous talk earlier.
Yeah, so he's got a couple commandments. Bravery above all, there is no glory in cowardice. Strength is the path to greatness, but greatness is the responsible use of strength. And the glory of the Shadow Lord lives through your glory on the battlefield. So this is like a coastal kind of passage through water, proven through battle type deity. And we still don't know what primal path Yasha has taken. I want to know, Ashley.
Yeah, like I misheard when he said the Stormlord, and I got super excited in Jess's chat because I was like, "Oh, is it a Storm Barbarian?" Because I really like Storm Barbarians, but then everyone corrected me that I misheard, and I was like, "Oh,
No.
But I mean, it could be now.
it
You
could
never
be."
What I found interesting was Yasha describing like that she would do anything for the Stormlord because he picked her up out of what was literally hell to her. And I was wondering if that was a play on her Aasimar trait, of her possibly being a fallen Aasimar or something like that. But yeah, just like finding out what she went through, because obviously she's like somewhat celestial. So was she being tortured because she was celestial? We have seen that happen in the Nine Hells before and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
she could have actually, been what's the word? Where you go and
Slave,
you
traded, human
traded.
trafficking.
But like there's another word, auctioned off. There we go. In one of the Nine Hells, and then got rescued by the Stormlord. This person, the Stormlords, worshipped mostly on the Menagerie Coast. And then they all kind of finish their baths, and they're all clean.
But they fight over who gets to be the last one out.
Yes,
You can see everyone naked.
that's the best tactic to use when you're with a bunch of friends in a bathhouse.
And you just
Like-
really want to see him naked.
Just wait it out. I just love how like Bo and Yasha were like really into being the last one out.
Yes. And I like there was some pretty good fan art of like sort of all their interactions in the bathhouse, and there was like a few times you would see like sort of Bo was nestling up with Yasha because like the whole time she kept sort of like, I don't want to say flirting with her, but flirting with her, and and then she like waited to like, and she got that very, very nice view of like, well, Yasha's like, I have no problem with like.
Did I get a nice view? Yes. And it's also funny to think that this whole time that Nott is in the water, she is looking like Ford, like a mini Ford, the entire time.
With clothes on, I think, too.
With clothes on, yeah. Oh, that'd be weird if she... Okay. After this, the party decides to split up again.
Mm-hmm.
Half go to the King's Hall. The rest go to... I say the rest. It's Jester and Caleb try to go to the Pillow Grove Trove.
Nest.
Pillow Trove, Grove, Happy Trail, what?
The Pillow Fort.
Pillow Fort. And they go, so I don't remember when they saw all of the job postings, but they're deciding to go with the one where they have to fight some roving beast.
Yeah, well, because a bunch of them were like, join up with the soldiers and go die, or tattle on the rebels, which like they don't want to do, or like a lot of them were really crappy things. And then there was the one that was like go through the sewers, and it's 700 gold. So like,
that's a lot.
Dang, that's a lot of money. And although they still tried to haggle for more money.
Yeah, there's 9 of us. They're gonna give us 900 gold, right?
100 each, right? No, it's 700.
No, it's bureaucracy. They're not gonna haggle for bureaucracy.
Yeah. And I like that they were giving the fake names to the job board, and they were like, oh, what are our 2 other members again? What are their names?
Yeah, so we got Regis, Clowry, Lawrence, and Barry and Desma. Also with Karen Rothschild.
Rothschild.
It's gonna be fun. I hope they didn't write them down and I don't remember them when they go to collect.
Yeah, perfect. Just like Vox Machina style. Also, like, really quick, the description was like some sort of oozy blockage. Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
In the sewer?
Gelatinous cubes in the sewer.
Are they gonna fight some oozes in the sewer?
Oh, I didn't even look at that. Look, and I have this, and then I also have.
Oh, what?
Oh no! I'm the
also
only
have-
one without a gelatinous cube.
What's
I
that
am
behind
sad.
you? Yes, we're gonna have to go find Big Square Boy.
A big square boy! Oh my god,
Oh.
that's the most a free hugs
they have
jelly friend.
They're one of my favorite monsters, and we haven't ever fought them because the only time we saw them was in the Goblin one shot with Ashton Birch and all that.
Ashton Birch.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, Jester and Caleb are trying to go to the nice part of town,
Mm-hmm.
Pelletrove, and they immediately get stopped by guards. Jester, approaches and like, I need to go to the Pelletrove to receive a package, and the guy's like, no, you don't, piss off.
Pull the other one.
Yeah, and then she's like, well, I have business at the Pelletrove, and eventually gets let in. Caleb is too dirty to go to this part of town. And then Dustin noticed that somebody made a remark about the. I thought I wrote it down. What was the name of the?
The evening nip. Because the guard
Evening nip.
says, no, your friend looks like he just walked out of the evening nip, which was in the letter. And that's where the gentleman was setting up the poison stuff to be sent down to Mamba.
So yeah, you're saying like maybe that was them, like, or Matt trying to like get them. She's playing her invisible piano. It's fun.
No, it was dun dun dun.
Your invisible piano. But it was like Matt maybe hinting like, hey, there's another thing here you could do. But Jester gets in, goes to collect her package, and doesn't get it. Mom didn't send her anything.
There's so many things that it could be.
There's so many things. We were discussing this beforehand that there's so many things it could be. But we did have like, because I mean, there's a few conclusions you could jump to, but we can cut out a few of them because a second later she met Artaga. Sorry, I was gonna say Artaga. She saw the Traveler.
I know. I keep saying, yeah. Matt,
Sorry.
can I propose a new graphic for certain aspects of this? Just a jump to conclusions board.
Okay.
Just post it up there. Just an
And then
idea.
we just
Making a note.
conclusions. But the Traveler specifically told Jester she's not aware you're here. So it could be legitimately that like her mom hasn't received her original note. Her mom, and like there's a number of reasons why that could be, right? Like there could be that.
Yeah, I mean the courier to Nicodranus left the town that they started in. I can't remember the name of, and what they were like 2 to 3 to 4 days. Like they camped once before the Knolls.
I think 3 camps got them there.
And then they stayed the night at the Knolls. They did the thing, and then yeah. So I think it's like 4. I think it might be 3 to 4 to 5 days.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long wait. The courier has to go all the way to Nicodranus, deliver the thing,
And then receive
And
the
then
thing and take it all the way
yeah.
back.
Yeah, so it could be that simple. But we were also theorizing that it could be some more
Sinister stuff.
sinister things,
Yeah.
such as the invisible piano. Like we were discussing that the evil lord that wants Jester dead because of the super innocent prank she played on him, could be, trying to still have a hit out on Jester, and maybe her mom is sort of trying to keep her quiet, hush-hush that she's like gone and where she is and not connect with her so that she doesn't know anything to give this information to the Lord, or just a whole bunch of things.
he could be intercepting that, and maybe he knows where she is.
Yeah, he's intercepted it, and now he's gonna send a hit to Jester at the Pillar Trove. Other thought that I had was the Traveler has intercepted it and kind of like wants to like take Jester.
Keep Jester for himself?
Yes. Like, because I mean, she's always like, I know you might, not like me because I'm with new friends and blah blah blah. It's always been us two. So now she's trying to like, any communication. He's like, okay, I'm going to take away your mom first. I'm going to take away your friends, and then I'm going to take you.
She did mention that like it's always been us, like, and so like I think that kind of semi-confirmed that the Traveler has kind of been with her along. Because I think Matt also said like all those times when you were alone in your room as a child and like. And you had the Traveler, and I'm like, oh, it has been like an imaginary friend sort of thing.
Type situation.
But he's very, very real, it seems. And keeps real close tabs if he can like appear that quickly.
Yeah, like that's not
it's not a normal thing.
Well, the thing with Matt's world is most of the deities were locked beyond the gate after the calamity.
Right.
So
they couldn't come to the
But
plane.
he did say in talks that there are beings that. Well, because Vecna was trying to get beyond that, and the Raven Queen moved, or the Matron of Ravens in Matt's world, moved beyond it. But there are beings, he said that there are beings in the world, not on the other side of the gate, that have influences and followers.
Vesh, yeah.
Oh, Vesh, that's right. Vesh was...
That's what I was trying to think of when I said Raven Queen.
Yeah, and then there are theories that, the Traveler isn't real and she's imagining him, because, like, we assume... that she did actually see him, because that's what was described to us in the scene, but she could still just be
seeing. Yeah, it could just be
imagining.
I didn't know about that.
But, I mean, okay.
But I don't want it to be anything other than artist.
Because the voice changed a little bit, almost as if, like, Matt was, like, rediscovering it, but the sort of choice of wording seemed fairly Artagan-y, and, like... I mean, it's still open to interpretation, but don't make that face! Don't make that face out of laughing! It's Artagan! It's Artagan!
Matt had this archfey that liked to change shapes, that was tricky, like, followed them all the way through as a little satyr, and, like, at the end, and drew a lot, and at the end, he just wanted to get out into the world. And that was his deal, was, I will just build me a door. And the fact that symbol is a door with a path, and that Artagan has had 20 years to wander, an archfey wandering.
I mean, you mean travel?
Archfey traveling. Just so good.
And Artagan is just totally the type to be amused by silly little pranks and messing with people, and like.
And you put a fey loose in the material plane, and it's just like, okay, what kind of fun's gonna happen here?
Yep.
It's probably Artagan.
It's Artagan. Come on, guys. It's Artagan.
What else happens here?
Well, okay. When Jester got a room to be like, okay, well, now I have a room, so now you have to let me back here to, like, get my mail as I want it and stuff like that. But Caleb is trying to come in, and we have him disguise himself, thinking, like, I'm a stroll all up in here, like, it's not a problem at all, walks up, and
delivers his thing, like, I have business at the Pillow Trove. Keep going.
Oh, no, exactly what you said, like, assumes he's good to go, like, assumes he's deceived them, only to, like, look down and see that he looks like his normal filthy self, and it would seem that there is an anti-magic field near the entrance to the Tri-Spire. And personally, I was immediately like, someone fucking push forward through that anti-magic field right now, because I just need to know. I just need someone to do it. I just need to know.
Do you remember seeing that all caps tweet on my notifications of Jess tweeting that out? Anti-magic field, push forward through now.
Push forward through the anti-magic field, just do it.
But why didn't Frumpkin disappear as soon as it crossed the thresh? I'm kidding.
He didn't get a chance.
I
He
know.
got kicked into oblivion.
Into dust.
Kicks a cat into oblivion. What a terrible, terrible person.
That card's dying.
I'm sorry. I should stop shouting now. I'm gonna mute my mic.
Oh, she's in exile now. Go play your piano. Yeah, no, this person calls Caleb out on his lack of importance really rudely. Kind of really just dragging him as he was walking away. Like, hey, yeah, you got a meeting, huh? So you definitely made the group's hit list. Let's see. That's kind of where we get to the end, because then everybody groups back up.
He tries to go back in one more time around the back for
yes.
the smut shop books.
He tried.
Give Caleb his smut. But I'm sure I saw someone tweet. I think it was yesterday. It's like, I hope they plan a whole heist just to get to the smut shop. And I'm like, I'd watch that.
Because even Matt said, he's like, I want you guys, I don't want to keep you from the smut, but I mean, I feel like you guys could do a whole Ocean's 11 type.
Yeah,
what if it's this smut that is inspiring all of these rebellions, kind of like in Saga?
If the books, if the romance novels are the
like, who is this person that wrote all the books? What if they're the big ringleader?
Give away a huge freaking spoiler, but yes.
Oh fuck.
That is a huge late game Saga
Maybe.
spoiler, but it's so good, and it's so
Just play me off. Just play me off. Ding 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 ding.
I love that David said play him off keyboard from Kim.
Yeah, that's why I did it. Thank you for that, David.
I don't have my ears on right now. Otherwise, I would totally put them on.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be a fun thing if that's what's happening. Other than that, what's the next thing that happened? They meet up. They kind of get they carbo load for a nice lunch, and then they cheers to abandoning expectations, and Not's like, where did we get these drinks? Because they're outside. And then we're kind of at the end. Anyway, let's talk about ending thoughts, and if you're in chat, throw us some questions. What do we think this thing that they're going to fight is? Do we think they're going to win? Do we think they're going to find some other seedy underbelly in the actual sewer of this town?
Gelatinous cubes, but also other things. Because apparently 3 groups have already had this mission before. And what was it? 2 returned it and 1 didn't come back alive? It was something
it was 2 didn't come back alive and 1 gave up.
Returned it. Yeah, something like that. So it's not nothing.
Oh yeah, what do we think about Caleb just running his mud all over his face after Jester comes back out and kind of is like 7 gold is not a lot of money. It's like pocket change.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about that?
I think that I don't know, either Caleb has always sort of had it hard, or I feel like that's what plays into when I said earlier that Molly and Caleb seem the most on board with rebelling against this this society that is so shitty and crappy to that keeps the people who are down.
Kind of like what Rowan's saying, I'm curious of how the class difference between various party members is going to be in a long-running campaign like this.
Mm-hmm.
I totally misread things and paraphrased that, but it's fine. I didn't read it word for word. I apologize. I can't read. Go ahead. Save me.
I don't think Rowan will put you on a list, but he might. I don't know.
Yeah. He had the best. I was about to say maybe I shouldn't read this on here, but it's not we're PG. We're rated as mature. So I'm gonna go and say what he said, which was someone on Reddit stole his heart with seize the means of masturbation.
With the smut shop.
Excellent.
I'm sorry, I just love that.
Oh, geez.
David can't watch anymore. He just found out we're PG. Sorry, David.
Oh no!
Oh damn it! Shit.
And then all of a sudden his PG filter kicked in.
It kicked in, and now we're all blurred out. I think we're good then. Did we get the whole episode?
Yeah, city episodes kind of have varying amounts of things. We did get a lot of like little hints of things about backstories, and a lot more flavor to like this empire, which might not be all it's. Well, when is anything called an empire ever? What it touts to be? Touts, is that the right word? What it says it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, like you said, we got a lot of good stuff. We got a lot of Jester stuff, both in terms of Artaga and her mom and what she was sort of expecting, and also how troublesome she is, that she's probably going to go prank all the shrines, and also set out flyers about her god. And
had she used the name Lavore before?
That's one of the things. Sorry, we didn't hit that. And it was like when she was asked, could it be under a different name? She gave the name Lavore, and that's not something like. Do you think that was her secret name surname? When she was a hidden child, or could it be her? You know what I mean? Like, because like her mom, in theory, there's several people saying.
Or could it be her mom's name? Because like we just know her as the Ruby of the Sea right now.
Could that be her mom's actual name? Yep, exactly. And although some people have pointed out, they're like, we don't know for sure. Like, Jester does seem to overhype things and overimagine things. Could it be that her mom's not really the Ruby of the Sea, but just someone else working at that establishment, and she like.
Or could it be one of those things that she came from an orphanage and like she kind of sees herself in the Ruby of the Sea somehow, and like has assumed that that's her mom. It's like lying about all this stuff. Maybe that's why she doesn't think $7 or 7 gold is a lot of money. She's like, what would be a large sum of money that I could say that I have?
I don't personally grab onto that one very hard, but
no,
go ahead.
Not me either. But
just saying things.
No, you're fine.
No, it's fun to like throw things out there and discuss all the different possibilities.
Abernathy.
Well, cool. I guess we will end it here. We will see what happens on Thursday, and then we'll see what we think on Sunday.
Yep.
This is true.
Okay, just finally, I like that they ended off with, like, they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to go to the sewers and do the stuff. Should we have done some research? Man. Like, I love that they, like,
absolutely not.
Should we
have
please
go in blind.
research?
It's much more fun.
Yeah, just go all in. Just, like, do it live.
We'll do it live.
Do it live.
Yep.
We'll do it live.
They'll do it live every Thursday.
Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in and chatting with us and interacting and talking. I'm Matt. You can find me on Twitter at Matt Abernathy, Matt_Abernathy. If you guys want to say your names again.
Oh, it's me, Dustin, again. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Every single one of you. I'm at GeoNerd on Twitter. Have a good night.
See, like, I don't want to go after this. I'm like, I can't do some fancy dramatic ending. I'm just Jess. And go_JG on Twitter. That's it. That's all.
And you should follow these two because they sometimes stream real fun content on their Twitch channels. Also, and I don't think we've ever done it, but we probably should have. Hey, leave us like a comment or like us or rate us on all the podcasting things. It's like a
smash
way to,
that subscribe button.
Smash that like button and subscribe, my dudes.
Yeah.
No, it's a good way to help things like this grow, and it'd be cool if we I don't know, got more people involved. It'd be fun.
Yeah,
I'd love to see like comments.
Yep.
But everybody say bye.
Bye.
Bye.